everyone. Welcome to Show and Share. It's Tuesday night. We do this every week where we come to Knox Makers and we show off projects we're working on or something that we've made or something that we've totally screwed up to warn other people. If we need help with anything, we just love all kinds of making here. So I have a list, and the first one on the list is Bronco with a forged calla lily.
Hello, how we going? So I didn't record the process because it was very involved and there's a lot of work to make them in the first place, so taking footage wasn't on my priority list. But we got together a couple of Sundays ago and Andrew showed us how to make these calla lilies. And so this is what it looks like. Basically, this was made from a 1 inch by, I don't know, half an inch bar. It took forever pounding, even when you heat that up, like it just takes a lot to move that metal. So then, just on Sunday, I went and did it with some small square bar, and I did this little version, which is a little more delicate, much faster to make. So the size comparison there. But yeah, so I did mess it up a little bit. Like at the bottom, you're supposed to fold it over more, so it looks like it's going into a stem, and I rushed and I didn't quite get that. But I didn't break the tips. So here, like the tips actually broke because I actually pounded it too thin. But I don't know, I feel like it makes it look more like a flower, more natural anyway, so that's cool. Also the rust, the scale on it, normally you kind of scrape that off through the process. I kind of like the color, you know, so I just kind of left it as is. So yeah, that's that. This one took probably about, I don't know, 3 hours or so of messing around. But that was my first time too. This one only took maybe, I don't know, 40 minutes or so to an hour messing around with that. So yeah, so any questions?
I see a black spot on your left thumb. Is that a byproduct of the hammering?
It is a hammer-induced injury, but not from blacksmithing. I do keep my hands well away there. Okay. No, I was doing some carpentry work at home, and I'm actually usually really accurate with a hammer, but I was in one awkward position, I couldn't get in, and so I did it a stupid way, and that was the end result, so yes. Yes?
Would you consider making one of those out of just sheet metal so you didn't have to pound it flat to start with?
I mean, I guess I could. It'd probably be a lot easier. I guess the nice thing about the bar is it kind of gives you a stem, which you can then use. But to be honest, it's kind of more of practicing the blacksmithing techniques, because you got to shape it, you got to like make a tip. Once you've made the tip, then you got to make the stem, and you got to move the metal to do that, and then you got to thin it out enough. And then there's the techniques with peening, where you use, if no one knows what a peen is, it's imagine a hammer that's got just like a long, pointy sort of side, and that you got to like bang it down. So imagine that's flat, and you got to keep hitting it, and that keeps spreading the metal out and thinning it out as you go. So basically, it's practicing a bunch of different techniques that are useful for other stuff. But yes, I guess sheet metal would be probably a quicker way if you just kind of weld it to a stick. So for sure. Yes, Joe.
I noticed that the rust pattern has also some non-rusted parts. Was that metal coated with something and part of the coating came on?
No, so I think that's just the scale. So that there is just, like propane forges create a lot of scale. Unless you clean it off all the time, it just kind of stays there. And so like the scales cracked off on these bits because they were moving, and so that's the raw metal underneath, and the scale is what sits on top. So it kind of does give it almost like a protective coating in a way. The problem is it's just inconsistent. So the right thing to do would be to probably go in there with a wire brush or something, clean it up, and then coat it in wax or dip it in something, oil it, whatever. So that's it. I'll pass them around.
Very lovely, thank you. Next on our list, we have Sue, who has a quilt show.
Yes, please. I'm going to need some assistance with this. I have been talking about doing my quilts, 8 of them, for a while. There's 4 on this side and 4 on that side, so you guys can, yeah. Well, grab one from this side. Oh, no, 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 no. So this is the end result of the 8.
You need more? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, come on. I can't get those in a string.
Yeah, well.
Well, we'll just have to swap sides.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we also got some
Wow.
sides too.
All right. So I got, do we still have one more?
There's one more in the boat.
We got all 4 here.
And 4 on this side?
4 on
we've
there.
got 3 here. No, 3
Yeah.
here.
We don't have any more.
We got one more.
Yeah, one of yours came over
From
here.
that side,
Yeah.
so you've got
That's all
one
right.
more over there.
Oh, wait, you hang that and give me the fourth.
There we go.
Okay,
There we go, look at that.
that's planning.
Oh, wow. Okay, so some of these are right sides and some of them are wrong sides, but I think you get the general idea.
Show the backside of that one.
And for our next show, we will.
Yes, I appreciate this show. All right. So what you will notice is a common theme of colors. The butterfly on the outside has one batch of colors, and then the lavender has another batch of colors. But even that is intermingled between the two. I did this for a group that they're all very different people, but they're all the same, and they all work together, and that's why I wanted to do the quilts. The patterns on them, I did with a, oh man, now the word is just, walking foot, thank you. Which you're not supposed to be able to do curves with walking foot, but I managed to get some gentle ones done. On the back side, because these are different people with different requirements, I either did the thin cotton. Yeah, you have the nice fuzzy fur, flannel. And this is a nice, I don't know what you call it, but it's like velvet. Yeah. And then Sherpa, for those of the group that get really cold. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to since last April. It's been a long process, but I'm so glad to finally have this behind me. Yes, any questions? Yes.
What does it say in the corner?
Oh, you weren't here. I used the sublimation printer and iron to print on the ribbon.
Oh, nice.
Put it under the, maker's mark.
Are we upside down?
Yeah.
Okay. I did AV in college. Is that working?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so that kind of furthers the thought of a team, right? And what I really liked, you'll notice the lighter lavender on it works really well with the purple. And I'm really pleased. On the butterflies, the lighter opacity that I did for the ribbon blends in well as well. So, yeah, I learned some new tools, new to me, some of them. I will now, instead of using safety pins to baste, I have a favorite friend. Yes, Elmer's glue. It's a wonderful basting tool. To hold seams open, I have another tool. Yes, my grandson's spoon. It works really well. So just some really odd tools that I found that worked out really well. So if there's no other questions, that's it for me. Thank you.
That's very impressive.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Jennifer with a sculpture.
And the dowel rods are just for attachment purposes. Since I was last here, about a year ago, I've been working on some new stuff. Alabaster in particular. Oop. This one's an octopus with these little tentacles going off the front. And then side view, I'm getting some legs in there. But I'll pass those around in a minute. And then the base, which is black walnut, is gonna be for the horse. So it's a horse's head. And I need to use the drill press to drill holes in both and attach them. If anyone has any idea how to do that, because this one's gonna need water for the drill. I don't know if the drill press here is water compatible. So, but that's what it's gonna sit about like that. Okay, any questions? Yes, Sue?
What's the material of the?
Both are alabaster. This one just has a little bit more concretion still on the outside, but I'm actually liking the look of it. So when it's wet, when the stone is wet, you can see the color change.
Oh, yeah.
So, but this does not have its final polish on it, and neither does the wood. So, after attachment purposes. Yes?
Question, could you, polish the bottom of that so it sits flat like on a sander?
Probably. I don't know that I want it like that. I like having the horse's nose kind of off the lip a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
So, yes. I've got rasps, big files, chisels, and then the Dremel for some of the smaller work. Anything else? Right. Let me box them back up carefully. They are very heavy. Try not to whack them against each other.
Next up, we have Neil with an update on wood turning 102.
So those of you who've been patiently waiting for the wood turning classes to be back on the calendar, hopefully they will be in another day or two. I submitted the dates to Brian this afternoon. And what we're going to do, so that a lot of people who've been talking about the hilt challenge, the lightsaber hilt challenge, and they want to do at least a portion of it on the lathes. So to give an opportunity for more people to get the wood turning or the woodworking 102 class, what we're going to do is have 4 classes almost every week starting on February 28th. The next one after that will be March 6th, March 13th, and then March 27th. The classes are actually authorization classes so that you can use the lathe. There will not be a necessity for you to take the woodworking 101 authorization class before you can take the wood turning 102 class. But if you haven't taken the 101 class, you are not going to be authorized on any of the other machines in the woodworking zone other than the lathe. So keep that in mind. There is a 101 class coming up on February 29th, and as of 6 o'clock this evening, there were 2 spaces left on that. So those go pretty quick. You might want to grab hold of it, and the wood turning classes usually go pretty quick too. As of 6 o'clock, they hadn't come up on the calendar yet, but I anticipate they'll be on the calendar between well, between now and maybe sometime tomorrow. So if one of those dates works for you, keep an eye on the calendar. That's it.
Neil stole my announcement about the woodworking class, and now it's gonna be sold out before the end of show and share. Next on our list, we have Brian, who is showing J5? Yeah. Okay.
So this is a project I've been working on, and I had it on the shelf because I moved. So here's a few, oh no, photos. Here's a few pictures. So that's, what's that?
Zoom the overhead.
Yeah. So that's, there's the base, and that's another angle of the base, and that's that again. Okay, so, and then I've got a couple videos.
Sorry, I missed seeing it. What
Johnny 5. It's a Johnny 5 head. So there is the eyes moving, and it's got the iris. The iris isn't working. Okay. And then let's see, where's the other one? So here's the neck working. Yeah. So, and like the biggest holdup that kind of like had a stopping point was like I was trying to put cameras in the eyes, and so I had to like redesign parts, and it was just really difficult. And then I moved, so it's been in a box for I don't know how many, a year. It's been at least a year. It's been in a box. So I got it out, and I've got to reprint some things. But hopefully I'll have it done soon, and I'll be able to bring it here without the cameras. I guess that's it.
will it self-propel?
So it's just a head.
Oh, doesn't have to
Yeah,
crank.
I'm gonna have to learn some metalworking to get the whole like tread stuff going.
I think I know a place you can get that metal working.
That's what I heard. Yeah,
Is the head full size?
it is full size, full scale. Yeah, yeah. But it's just like down to the neck part, and it does the turning. Well, that's the turning part. The head turning part is not functional yet, but it's like it's part of the design.
What are you using to control everything?
I've got about like 20 servos, and then I've got them all connected to like some PWM multiplexers to a Raspberry Pi, and then I've got Python code to do all that, run all that.
Are you hard coding the animation values, or using some kind of animation software in IK to get what to send to the actuators?
Yeah, there's no like, right now, I just like tell it, go this far, go this far. I wrote something to kind of like make it a little, make it a little easier to give it the values of how to move and stuff. But eventually what I want to do is, with the cameras and everything, have it be like semi-autonomous so that it like follows things and whatever. But that's, I guess, down the road. Anything else? All right.
No, we will not be happy until it's full size and sentient. So we're interested in seeing this project. Next is Wes, who has a Corvette sign.
Hello. So my dad had seen this picture in a Corvette magazine, and he was really excited because apparently it was cut out with a laser cutter, and here I have access to a laser cutter, so now I get to make this sign. So I mocked it up, got it all finished and everything like that. It's pretty simple. It's made from MDF, and then I cut out the letters and everything like that from the laser cutter here. That was pretty much it. I mean, there's not much to it, so I think my dad's just gonna put some hooks on the bottom and put his Corvette keys on it and stuff like that, so, any questions? Yeah. I'm sorry? What year is the Corvette? I think it's a 63 or 64 is what he has, so he's always had Corvettes his whole life and, you know, really into it, and so this is something that he wanted me to do for him, so.
Which paint? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's just Kills, you know, primer, and then just some paint that I got from Lowe's, basically, and just threw it on there, so. Yeah.
How did you go from the picture that you had, which wasn't a direct on picture, to the?
Good question. Yeah, so that was the interesting part of it, and actually, it turned out to be easier than I thought it would be. Figuring out the size, so this is 30-inch by 15-inch. I marked it up in Vectric software, which is a CNC software that I have. And so that's what actually cut out this, right? So the lip and everything like that. And then I put on the, found somewhere and just Googling around the actual lettering for it, exactly what it looked like. Downloaded it and then just traced it on Lightburn. And that was, I mean, the mock-up was probably done in about 30 minutes. So I got really, really lucky with it. This part here, the flag, I'm not really super happy with it, but it is what it is. So maybe next time, you know, be a little bit better. Yes?
Have you used Inkscape, and if so, how does it compare to Lightburn?
For tracing,
Yeah.
my opinion, Lightburn is light years ahead of Inkscape. Inkscape does have a lot more features in tracing and can do different things, but I found that it takes too much sometimes. It gets, like, if the coloring is not exact, it'll pick up shading. And so there's a lot more work, in my opinion, in Inkscape to correct some of the vectors that it picks up. And with Lightburn, you could use, like, there's a pixel ratio that you can ignore pixels less than 2 or 3. With Inkscape, it'll pick those up. And so now you've got a huge mess, and the design of it really takes a lot longer. But there are a lot more features in Inkscape, like tracing and coloring and doing this and that and stuff like that. And so for me personally, I just did it real quick in Lightburn, and it worked really well, and that's what I continue to use. So, all right, thank you.
Next is Joe with Dogwood.
Hello, I'm Joe. The makers are going to be going out to the Dogwood Arts Festival, and some of us are going to be doing some demonstrations. Some of us are going to be doing some workshops. And so for my demonstration, I was going to try to make a dogwood flower. I'm usually really good about doing process pictures and showing how things are coming together, and I didn't do any of that this time. I worked on it for a few days trying to get my guy together there, so I don't know if this is going to work. But I spent all the time in the shop just working on it instead of trying to document anything that I was doing. I did, along the way, make some other things that I didn't really care for very much. You can see, like, this one was one of my fails. I tried to make it all out of one piece, but I didn't feel that it gave the petals any real form. So, you know, like, you can see the difference maybe between the texture of the one with its separate petals. And then the little middle parts of the the flower, I took little rods and I just ran the welder right onto the end of it for a hot second. So it gave it, it's not gonna. There it goes. So it gives it more of that, it's all backwards what I'm trying to do. There you go. Yeah. And then for the leaf, I did a little bit of cold chiseling on that to give it a leaf texture for it. But so I guess it's a combination of fabrication, a little bit of smithing techniques. I use the dishing bowls to give it more of a petal shapes, and in the end I brazed it all together. I'm a little bit worried about not having the right kind of electricity out there to put things together, so I decided to braze it all together, and that way we can go out there and throw big fire and have, you know, make it look cool. But yeah, so that is my dogwood flower. Any questions or anything? Oh, okay.
So like the colors, is that the metal or did you kind of like heat treat it?
The heat treatment came through the brazing process, and I myself, I like how metal looks after I want it to look like it's metal, right? So a lot of times I'll leave some surface rust on there, like the red rust that was showing up on yours. That happens sometimes, just, you know, like if you're quenching something, it can happen too. But and then the flux, I'm still trying to get some of the flux off of it. Like down here, you can see this puddle of flux around, and there's solvents, you know, like I'm using alcohol to try to get it off. But I kind of like to leave it like that so that it really accentuates what it's made of. Mark?
This is sort of against what you just said. Can we sandblast to clean something like that?
Yeah, you definitely could. It would give it like a bead blasted finish. It would really, you know, so sometimes you can use that for artistic effect if that's the look you're going for sure. And I did consider it, especially on the petals, because it would make it more of like a softer matted look, and it would probably turn that metal back to white, which would probably look a little bit more dogwood flowery as a white petal.
So we have sandblasting back there.
Yeah, we could do that. Yep. Mm-hmm. Sure.
I've done some blasting back there with some plain parts, and if you wire wheel them afterwards, they shine up pretty nicely. If you're looking for shiny.
Yeah.
When you take them out, yeah, they look really matte finish. But when you put them on a wire wheel for a minute or so, they shine up pretty nice.
Yeah.
Did you mention the metal that you used?
It's mild steel sheet metal. I cut it out on the plasma cutter, and then I took it out to the blacksmith shop, and I put it in the dishing bowls and gave it the shapes. The stem is a copper pipe, and it's just a little copper tubing, and it was easy to form and easy to braze too. So, I mean, it gives a little brown color for the stem. But anybody else? Oh, cool, thanks.
The Dogwood Arts Festival is April 26th through 28th, and we're not sure exactly who is going to be there from Knox Makers, but there's going to be a couple booths, like a couple demos and a couple classes. So even if you're not signed up for those, you can stop by and say hello to our makers. Last on my list tonight, we have Sean, and I have no idea what he's showing, so brace yourselves.
So I took Joe's scrap metal art class a few weekends ago, and having never welded before, I was excited to learn, and I was trying to figure out what to make, and it kind of sprung to me that I have on my porch a Greg Toon original here that's just been sitting out there for a long time, and I've named him Rusterford because he has just gotten so rusty, and I said, you know what, why don't I make him a little buddy? So I made this, and I call him Bert the Bot. He kind of looks, If you know the Venture Brothers, he kind of gives me helper vibes. But no, it was real fun to learn. I had never, like I said, never welded before, so Joe was real great at teaching us how to tack everything together and make sure you didn't totally burn holes in through everything. As you might be able to see there, was not quite successful with that. But that's why I put it on the back side. So, but yeah, it was just real fun kind of picking out pieces and seeing what fit together and just saying, hey, I want to make a little guy here. And then grinding away the horrible welds up at the top and making it look nice. So yeah, so now he's lives on my front porch with the other one. And the size difference is kind of pronounced. Yeah, just small friends. So Bert the Bot and Rusterford are just going to be hanging out there. And maybe they'll have more now that I got the welding bug. So yeah, that's it.
Very cute. As predicted, the woodworking class is sold out. But also, next Thursday on February 29th is a new member onboarding. So if you are a trial member, if you're interested in membership, you have to come to one of those at some point before getting your key. That's at 7 o'clock on the 29th. As far as other classes, they've all also sold out. So I think the next laser class is in June. Is that right?
That's not sold out.
That's the one that's not sold out is in June. Pester John Dale to put on more classes maybe. As far as other announcements, we have hired, or we are in the process of hiring an electrician to do some pretty significant work around here. So please watch the Mattermost channel and keep updated on when and where people are going to be working. I'd hate for you to come in with all your stuff ready to go and then there's no power in your zone. So please, we will try and update as much as we can as soon as we know it. So that is all I have for announcements. If you are new here, yes? Okay, you may. And last up, we have Tracy with another unknown share, so brace yourselves again.
Well, since Isaac's always encouraging us to share stuff that didn't quite work out, I thought I'd just quickly show you some things that I was working on that didn't quite work out. I was doing stuff that I thought might be good if I wanted to exhibit with the Broadway Gallery for the Gaudy Gold Frame Show. This one was a box that I like to find old boxes at thrift stores that I just like, and then repaint them. So that's what I did with this one. He just obviously gold and put some, some memorabilia on the inside that. Oops. Let's see if that comes out. Okay. Just pictures of just childhood pictures. But I didn't quite like the finish. I didn't like how that turned out. And then the my idea was to put it in this frame. I just like the idea. I'm not real big on structure. That's not my strong point. But so the idea was to mount it in here. Like so, which I did. I hung it on the wall, and I just thought, well, I'll try super glue, right? It holds everything. And it did. For 24 hours it held. And after that, not so much. So I was so I put that one on the back burner. And then this guy got mostly to completion. It's really gaudy. Again, a thrift store frame, spray painted in gold. This is a pour I did. The reason why it's not successful is if you looked real close to it, I won't put it under the camera, but there are holes in it that shouldn't be there. So when you pour and you stack that paint, and then you do your pour, and if your paint viscosity is just not fluid enough, it's not going to run enough. Mine wasn't. So even though I moved it around and got some fun designs, it ended up having some holes here and up here, which, you know, I could have done it again, but I just really wanted to move forward with it, just to, you know, as imperfection. And this is a 3D printed frog that I did about a couple years ago, but he wasn't obviously mounted on here, and I wanted to keep it really light, so I did hot glue on this rather than super glue, which didn't work out before. So so far that's held. Again, it's really, really light, whereas this box was really heavy. So, and then, so those weren't entirely successful, but it did work out. The problem with the Audreys, I used Gorilla Glue. Gorilla Glue just, it's so thick that when you put it on, I can almost get a drip of saliva out of them, which was really great. So that one did work out. But that was it. Any questions? Oh, yes, Joe.
Do you think those going to the Broadway galleries, gold frame show?
You know, I thought they would, but then I decided I didn't really want that. That's not really where I wanted to go with it. I don't know why, but I just thought I'll just share it with you guys, and that'll be good enough for me. Yeah.
Probably Dave.
Yeah. There he is.
They do look droolier than they did before.
Yeah, I'll pass it around if you, or I'll put in the arts and crafts section if you guys wanted to look at it, but let's see if I can. I don't know if you really get a good sense of it, but if you look it up close, you can see like drips of saliva, which is great. So, anything else? Yes, Brian?
On the long gold one with the frog at the bottom?
Yeah.
Did you thought about just making sure the back was good and sealed and then put it nice and flat and pour in a fairly thin coat of clear acrylic? And that would help fill in the holes and divots and make it all look like a flat clear sheet over it?
I could do that. Or I could just do a whole other one and let this one be flawed. So, we'll see. Anything else? Okay, thanks, guys. Your way in a second.
You're fine. I didn't have any other announcements, so if you're visiting and you haven't had a tour, find someone with a name tag and we'll be glad to show you around. Otherwise, go make cool things.